you had quite an eventful evening tonight, but before we get into that, I want to go and step back a little bit. We're going to do it like 4 segments, a couple minutes each.
Sure.
And your early days compared to where you're at now aren't the same thing.
No, my early days were very different. My parents were from the Buddhist faith when they were in South Korea.
Okay.
So when they moved to Canada, they were not Christians, and I was born in Canada. But it was interesting, when my mom was pregnant with me, she had a dream of raising me in a church. So we did go to church when I was born. Like we went to church, but my parents weren't believers going to church.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was basically not raised in a Christian home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you weren't raised in a Christian home, but you had kind of a really wild encounter with Jesus when beggar.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just kind of back up a little bit and tell that story.
Yeah, so I'll back up a little bit. So eventually my mom did come to the Lord.
Yeah.
And then she started praying for our family. And the more she prayed, the further away from God I went. You know, like I got into drugs. I got caught up with some drug dealer friends, and my life just kind of spiraled out of control.
Okay.
But one day, and this was how God answered my mom's prayers, I was at a coffee shop, and I remember I was just sitting down at a coffee shop, and this homeless man came out of nowhere, you know, and he walked right up to me, and he said something so strange. He said, you know, God sent me to tell you that you're running away from God, and He wants you to come back to Him. And I remember thinking, this is, like, timing wise, this is unbelievable, because I was actually going through a bit of a crisis in my life at the time. I was questioning life and the meaning of life. I was getting into trouble with the law. I owed, you know, money to drug dealers, and I was just in a bad place. And it just, timing wise, it was so unique, like odd, right? So then I was like, okay, I want to know more. And that's when he basically shared the gospel with me.
The beggar.
Yeah, the homeless man shared the gospel with me. Yeah. And I knew in that moment I needed Jesus. And so he led me to Jesus. A homeless man led me to Jesus Christ. And ever since then, my life was totally transformed.
So now you talk about transformation. So you went from running from God, running from the drug dealers who you owed money to now the renewal of the mind, which led you to become a pastor. And you've also hosted this 700, what's the equivalent for the 700 Club in Canada. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that journey.